Hey, what's up guys? Devin Hughes here with eXp Realty, and I didn't post a video last week because, and I'm not gonna complain, I was busy. It was fantastic. And Thursday was the start of a long UTA weekend. I was doing my reserve thing, so I didn't really have the time to record and edit. So I did actually post a live video on YouTube. Unfortunately, I messed up the sound, so it was just a silent video. So if any of you guys wanted to try to watch while it was still up and could read my lips, you would have gotten an update on how business is treating me. But I'll just do that again at the end of this month. Today though, we're going to talk about the process of buying a home from A to Z. I've touched on aspects of it and kind of gone more in depth in certain areas, but this is just going to be a broad overview. So if you are watching and researching and just kind of learning, streaming the YouTubes to figure some stuff out, this is for you. And also if you're a potential client of mine and I sent this video to you, this should help you quite a bit. At least I hope so. So we're going to go over each step and talk about a little bit of what those are and what they mean. So step one is actually doing what you're doing now. A little bit of research, watching some videos, getting some familiarization with the process so that each time you run into a different step, you're not blindsided. The next step beyond that is to meet with a real estate professional, a real estate agent like myself, and go over what it is that you're looking for exactly and kind of what price point you think you want to go with, and that gives us a good idea of how to help you best. And we'll go ahead and also refer you to some of the contractors or some of the vendors that we work with as well, like a lender or inspectors and things like that. Important to note, when you are meeting with real estate professionals, it's a good idea to go ahead and meet with a few, 2 or 3, because you're making a big investment and it could be a pretty stressful time in your life. So you want to make sure that whoever you're working with, you get along with really well and that they have your back and they're going to be there to guide you through this process in a way that makes you comfortable. It's also important to make sure that all of the decision makers are at this meeting. You don't want, for example, if you're married, you don't want to go to a meeting without your spouse and then have to do it again to make sure that everyone gets along. The next step in this process, as I've said many times, is getting pre-approved with a lender. It's a good idea to start with whoever your real estate agent refers you to, but don't stop there. I would always recommend getting 2 or 3 different quotes from different lending institutions. That way you can be confident that the deal you're getting is the best deal that you can get. Now I have to emphasize this because I know a lot of people that just go straight to the bank that they have used and that they know they like, and they get a quote from them and then they just run with that. The problem is a lot of these bigger banks that issue loans and issue mortgages are not the cheapest money, and they aren't the easiest to work with either. Think about it this way. If you're working with a big bank, the phone number you get is probably just a main line that would then send you to the person you want to talk to, if that person is there. So when the time comes that you inevitably have a question for them, it's really difficult to get in touch with them, as opposed to a smaller lender or a broker where you can literally just text them your question and then they'll get back to you pretty quickly. Now when you do go to get pre-approved, the lender or broker is going to ask you for some information. They're going to need your W-2s, some pay stubs, and some bank statements to prove that you have the cash that you'll need to close. So now's the fun part. You've picked a real estate agent that you know and trust, you have a lender, and you're pre-approved. It's time to go look for some houses. So after you decided on an agent, they should have set you up on a search directly in the MLS for any homes that meet your criteria. Take this time to review them, leave notes, and give your agent some feedback on what you like and dislike about certain things so they can further filter things out. Just know that as you go on this search, your priorities are going to change. What you think you want in the beginning isn't necessarily what you're going to want as you start looking at the houses that meet your initial criteria. Maybe at first you thought, I really needed a 5-bedroom house. But in reality, a 4-bedroom house with a bonus area works just as well as a 5-bedroom. So then we would filter that as well and make sure that we're getting the best options that actually suit your needs. Another important note, as I did say, we set you up with a search directly in the MLS. That's the most accurate data. Some of these third-party apps that you can use to search for houses and let us know if you find something you like, but they won't always be the most up-to-date. So you may look at a house that says it's available, but then when you send it to me and I look it up, it went pending a few days ago. By pending, I mean it's under contract and a buyer's already secured it and it's in escrow. Okay, so now we've searched, we've narrowed it down, we've looked at a few places, we figured out what you actually need, what you love, and what you don't necessarily like. We found the house that you want to call home. The next step is putting an offer together. At this point, your agent should give you some numbers as far as what other properties in the area have gone for that are similar in quality and size. And then you take that information and decide what you believe to be a fair offer. Your agent should guide you. They won't pick a number for you, but they should help you come up with a number that you find fair and that you are comfortable paying. There are other things that go into the offer besides just the price though. And this is something where your real estate agent will guide you and educate you in these different negotiable parts of the contract. Something to know that a lot of first-time homebuyers aren't aware of is that on your offer, it will say how much the earnest money deposit will be. In the area that I service, it's usually within 3 days of offer acceptance that you wire the funds to a title company where they hold it in escrow. These funds, like I said, are the earnest money deposit, and it's something that you put forth so the seller knows you aren't just putting offers on every house you see, and something to give them a little more security because they're taking this house off the market, and that's a huge opportunity cost if you aren't able or willing to follow through. So there are situations in which if you back out, you get this money back and you are protected in that way. But there are also situations where if you just decide after the inspection period's over that I just don't like this house anymore and you back out, they are likely going to be able to hold that money for themselves to compensate them for the time they had the house off the market. Traditionally, earnest money is 1% of the purchase price. It's totally negotiable and you could get away with offering less, but in this market, that'd be a challenge. Usually, if you really love the house, this is the house you have to have. Like I said, that's what we found. You may want to do a little extra just to show the seller that you are serious. All right, we've done everything leading up to this point and now our offer is accepted. Congratulations, we're under contract. This is when we do a lot of digging. We figure out every detail we can about this house. Because in the contract, you have an inspection time frame, which is not only used to just inspect the home, which you will do, it's also time to do your due diligence to learn everything you can about the property, the area, the HOA if there is one. You want to read through their bylaws and make sure that there isn't anything that's a deal breaker for you. It's also the time to have follow-up inspections after your main inspection. The time period for the inspection is negotiable. Usually less time is better for the seller, more time is better for the buyer. So really you'll be probably within the 7 to 15 day window. Use this time to get an inspection. Even if it's a brand new house, just built, get it inspected. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people not getting their homes inspected because it's new construction. What can go wrong? And then everything goes wrong. These home inspectors, they know a little bit about a lot of things. So if they see something that looks a little weird, maybe on the roof, maybe some electrical, and it's not necessarily their specialty, they might recommend that you get a specialist out to come take a deeper look. This is all still done within that inspection time frame, so that's why it's important to really get going as soon as you're under contract. If there is something that the inspector finds or the specialist finds that is a big deal, let's say they find out that the roof is going to cave in on the house, this is time to negotiate with the seller. Sometimes for big things like that, they're gonna have to fix that anyway. No buyer is going to come in to a house where the roof's gonna fall. So this is a time for you to negotiate, maybe get them to pay to get it all fixed. There's ways that they can just leave money in an escrow account to cover the cost. Work closely with your agent to figure out the best way to go about the negotiation, and they'll make sure that you're covered and you're safe. For some of the smaller things that are more cosmetic, it's usually not worth bringing up to the seller because right now they have tons of buyers to choose from And as a buyer, you don't have a lot of homes to choose. The market is cyclical, so that could change, and maybe by the time you watch this, you're in a position where you can ask a seller to basically remodel the house for you, and they'd be happy to do it just to sell their house. Real estate agent will help you and guide you and make sure you negotiate the right things so that you get the best deal you can. So now we've been out of pocket 2 expenses. One, the earnest money deposit, which will come back to you if everything closes to go toward the money that you need to bring to the closing table. The second one is the inspection cost. It's going to vary from location to location, from home to home. It depends on the square footage of the house, how many rooms there are, but your agent should be able to give you an estimate of what it could cost. In my area, think around $500 in the Tampa Bay area. It'll fluctuate up and down from there based on the type of property and the square footage. That's for the inspection. So now the appraisal. Right around the same price point, your lender will tell you up front when you ask how much the appraisal is going to be. This is another out-of-pocket expense. Now the appraisal is important because if it appraises lower than what you offered the seller, then you have to renegotiate, or you have to be willing to bring the difference in cash to closing. Fortunately, if it appraises high, that's just equity that you get to walk into. So you see that there are those 3 out-of-pocket expenses, plus the closing costs that are going to come with buying your house. That's not counting any down payment. So if you have to bring a down payment, that's more money. That's why it's so important to make sure that you're financially ready to purchase a home. If you're walking into this with no cash in your bank account, it may not be the right time for you. You might have to sit back and wait for a little bit, save some money, and then go out searching for a home. But I digress. So at this point, all the major hurdles are behind us. So now we are basically waiting on the underwriters. So during this time, they may come to you and ask for additional information, more documents, more proof of funds, anything like that. Make sure that you provide those in a timely manner, ideally immediately. As soon as you get the request, just scan in whatever document you need to and send them off. Because this all leads us to closing day. Closing day is a great day. This is the day that you go sign all that final paperwork. It's a lot of signing, so make sure you hydrate so your hand doesn't cramp. And then you get the keys to your new home. Congratulations, you're a homeowner. So I hope I was able to keep this as brief as I could while still providing the information that's important. And if you are interested in working with me at any point to purchase a home, I have this broken down on a sheet, and I provide these to all of my buyer clients. So if you think you're coming up on that time to take a leap and become a homeowner, my information I think is going to be here, maybe here, and feel free to use it. Give me a call, send me an email, and I look forward to any comments, any feedback that you have on this video, or any ideas or recommendations for another video in the future. If there's something you don't know and something you want to learn more about, tell me, I'll research and I'll teach. It's what I love. So until next time, guys, let's kill it.